Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Unapologetically Daphnique podcast. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys on a whole journey about me. And in order for you guys to understand my point of views and my opinions, I think it's important you understand who I am. And my name is Daphnique Springs. I was born November 6th. Now, I know some of you guys are going to be like, well, what year? That's none of your business. If you're real interested, all you have to do is type Daphnique Springs into Google and it's going to give you the year that you want. Boom, because your ass is nosy. But I was born November 6th in South Florida, Palm Beach County, to my mother, Daphnique Springs. She was 17 years old. She had me 1 week after her 17th birthday. But if you talk to her, she going to act like she had me when she was in her 20s. I don't know why. My father, Samuel Springs, was 19 years old. I came out of him like, hey, I was conceived on love. These two people loved each other. So, my parents wasn't just messing around or, met out one night and boom, I popped up. No, I was conceived on love. That's why I have a loving spirit. You hear me? So, I was born in South Florida. And my parents were actually married, but they divorced around the age of 6. After 6, I lived with my father for a little bit. And then I ended up going with my mother. And then I came back with my father. And a little bit about my life growing up in South Florida. I went to Barton Elementary, Lake Worth Middle School, Lake Worth High School. But we traveled around a lot in between that time. But I always came back to my hometown. Boom. I grew up fishing every day. That's a unique fact that a lot of people wouldn't know about me. I grew up deep sea fishing every single day. I used to love to fish. We went fishing every weekend and every day after school, whether it was on a boat or the pier in South Florida. All we did was deep sea fish. I used to love the deep sea fish because I've always been a little hustler. Used to even sell incense at the age of 2. Right here in Los Angeles, California. My mama used to make incense and I used to be headed about collecting the money at age of 2. So I always had a hustling spirit. Money making spirit. I used to love to deep sea fish because after we got done fishing, we used to catch sand perch, ocean perch, grouper, snapper, yellowtail snapper, wahoo. We used to just catch an array of ocean fish. And after we were done, my father used to allow me to sell the fish. So, the entrepreneur spirit kicked in. I remember my dad used to pull up to apartment buildings in South Florida. And how the apartment buildings in South Florida are shaped, it's a lot of them are cul-de-sacs. So it's like a U. And you have these apartment buildings that are 1 story. And I used to go in, my dad would pull up and I'll boom, 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 knock on one door, fresh fish, and just go around the cul-de-sac. Fresh fish, and then people would come outside, they'll see me, they were like, oh, that little crazy girl back again. They'll run in their house, get their money, and I used to sell fish. We used to have coolers of ice, fresh fish that we caught for the day, put them in Ziploc bags and sell them to people. Boom, that was my hustle. We didn't sell out. We usually sold out because people from other apartment buildings would hear and people would call people and we'll sell out. But if we didn't, we would go to the next apartment building. So I've always been a hard worker. Another thing a lot of people don't know about me is that my father had a photography business growing up. And so I used to be really good at like holding a light meter. We used to do weddings. We used to do photo shoots, anything you could think of with a camera. And I was his assistant. So maybe that's what got me into this beautiful world of the arts and content creating, is just having these camera skills at such a young age. At 10 years old, I was already reading light meters, knowing the numbers, boom, boom, boom. Nope, we need to do this, adjust the camera here. So I was smart. So I live with my dad in South Florida. We moved around. So I have this running joke. I tell people, if someone offered me $1 million to say every school I ever went to, I wouldn't even try. I would forfeit the money because I went to so many schools. We traveled around so much. It wasn't because I was in the army or anything. My parents were in the army. It was because they were just pick up and move. They were bad money. Got to pick up and move sometimes. We're in a new city. We're going to try to start over. And I've lived in Duluth, Minnesota. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee. I've lived in Tunica, Mississippi. I've lived in South Florida. I lived in a lot of different states, even Los Angeles, California. Which brings me back to the other hustle. My grandma used to own a hot dog stand on Washington, and it used to be in LA, like Inglewood area, and she used to own a hot dog stand. And I remember coming here and visiting one summer, and my grandmother owned this hot dog stand, and I was just like, at the age of 14, I was like, Grandma, you got a real business. This is a business. And already I said, Grandma, we got to take your business to another level. Like, we got to be out here. If you selling 10 hot dogs, we got to sell 30. And I really helped my grandmother. She had this hot dog cart. And I used to clean the cart every single day. We used to go eat soul food and stuff like that. So then my grandma was like, you know what? You need to start making your own money. So she took me to Food for Less, and I actually bought candy, and I would stand outside of the Kmart in Los Angeles, California. My grandmother had her hot dog stand, so she could always keep an eye on me. And I used to sell candy. And then so it was this kid that went to school with me. His name was Corey. And Corey would help me sell the candy, because when you're an entrepreneur at a young age, you know, you got to always get you an employer too. It don't matter how many you got. I had one employee. My grandmother technically was an employee of mine. She just didn't know it, because I was really running the hot dog stand. So I used to sell candy, and this man approached me one day. He said, hey, you look like you're good with people. I was like, what? I am good with people. He was like, would you like to have people sign petitions, and I'll give you $1 per signature. So I used to have to get this spiel and tell people why they should sign these petitions for law changes in the state of California. So I thought I was running the ultimate business. They had a little store around the corner. It was like a corner hood store that sold authentic baby fat. So I used to go over there, boom, boom. I had cash. Give me this, give me that. I was making at least like $300-400 a week at 14. I thought I was the shit. So my mom called me up. She was living in Michigan, Southfield, Michigan. She said, hey, baby, you know, school is getting ready to start. You need to come back home. I said, Mama, I need to stay here because Grandma needs me. I said, Grandma, I need you to help me convince my mama that I need to be here, because this business is running good. But once I leave, this whole empire is going to fall down. Grandma, I am the glue to your business. She was like, you know what, baby, you might be right. So she called my mother up. We did a little convincing. My mom said, all right. I said, Ma, I need to go to school here because I'm making so much money. Like, I felt like I was a millionaire, but I wasn't. But I was in my mind. You know, I had my own business. I had a candy business. We had a hot dog business. And I was getting petitions signed. And I was making change in the state of California. So my mother said, all right, you can go to school in Los Angeles, California. So I ended up going to Washington High School. Woo, that school was terrible. Boy, that school was bad. I ain't never been to a school like that. You know, we moved around a lot, but it was still in the good neighborhoods, you know, where the schools is different, you know. So, my mother said I could stay. I stayed for a little while. The school was a little rough, so I ended up going back home to Southfield, Michigan. I graduated high school 2004 at Southfield High School. Then I went to Eastern Michigan University. Decided to major in chemistry because I was like, you know what? When I get into the real world, I want a job where I can make money. And hey, maybe I want to make some chemicals next day, get into the pharmaceutical business or get into the makeup business. I saw this major as a diverse path to some more money, right? Because I can get in the company and do the hustle again. So my mother ended up moving out of the state of Michigan. She moved back to Florida. So I ended up third year of college saying, hey, I'm going to pack up and finish down there at FAU, Florida Atlantic University. Moved to Florida Atlantic University down in Florida and went to school there. And 10 credits short of graduating with a chemistry degree, I decided to drop out. And I was like, you know what? I want to be an actress. I want to be in the industry. I want to move to Hollywood. So I saved up $10,000 because I used to work at the Coconut Creek Casino. And when I worked at this casino, you had a lot of older Jewish people and they would tip. And it was this one Jewish man. He would give me $500 for a cup of coffee. I was like, this man, this is a sign from God. He is investing in my dreams because I am going to take this money. I saved it up and I shipped my car to Los Angeles. I called my grandmother up who was still living in Inglewood. I said, hey, Grandma. She said, what, baby? I said, how many bedrooms you got? She said, I got 2 bedrooms. I said, who in the other bedroom? She was like, your little cousin Ashanti done moved to Vegas with her mama, so it's all yours. I said, what's in there? She said, a twin-size bed and a dresser. I said, Grandma, that's all I need. I'll bring a TV. So I ended up moving to Los Angeles, California at the tender age of 21. Yeah, 21 years old. Came here on Christmas Day 2009, or it might have been 22 because it was Christmas Day. So I moved here Christmas Day 2009, and when I moved here, immediately just jumped into it. So how did I get here? To content creating. Where did I start? Got a lot of up and down. I done been on tour with Cat Williams, you know. Done got the feature from Martin Lawrence. So I dived into stand-up. Got into stand-up October 2010. How I got into stand-up, this guy I was dating in college. He had hit me up one day. He said, hey, my homeboy lives there, so you'll have a friend. Because you're always going to need friends in new cities. You know, just have a friend. I said, okay, cool. It's like, hey, this guy LeVar, just hit him up. And LeVar was a great person. He was a really good friend. So LeVar introduced me to this guy named Elijah. And Elijah was like, hey, can you come to my comedy show? Because it was a bringer show. Anybody know anything about comedy? Bringer shows is where you got to bring 10 people in the audience in order to get 10-minute stage time. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I brought me and my boyfriend at the time. So it was two. That was 2 of his 10. We was in there. And I saw him do a stand-up. And I don't know what it was about his stand-up, but I was like, I could do that too. I could do it. I think I want to do it. Because when I moved to LA, I didn't know exactly where I would fall. I just knew I wanted to immerse myself into the business. And I did that. Got into stand-up. Took me to a lot of amazing places. And it still continues to do that. So I am a stand-up comedian. I'm always coming to a city near you. So check my website, iamdsprings.com. And look at my tour dates. Moving on. I remember 2012. This thing called Vine came out. And I remember Simone Shepherd, Donovan Jordan, Doughboy, Nate Jackson, BT Kingsley. We started a little crew and we started Vining. Iva LaShawn, she was in it. We started Vining. And I remember looking at Vine, I was like, yo, this isn't going to go anywhere. This is trash. I think it might have been it was actually 2014. Yeah, bring it up, 2014. 4 years after being out here, Vine started to emerge. And it used to take us an hour and a half to shoot a 6-second sketch. I was like, you know what? This is exhausting. I don't know if this is ever going to go anywhere. It's probably a fad. It'll be in and out. Now to see so many of those Viners become millionaires, oh, I should have stuck with it. So fast forward to 2017. I remember being up for a sketch show. I tested for BET 50 Central. They didn't pick me. But I tested for it. I heard I was in the running a little pretty close. Didn't make the cut. And I remember looking at the people who made it, and a lot of them had followers. So I said in my mind, I was like, maybe you need to get some followers. So I ended up calling up Jahan Jones. I said, hey, Jahan. He was like, what's up? I was like, yo, I want to shoot some sketches. He was like, you ready to get in? Meet me over at Simone Shepherd and King Kieran's house. I was like, all right, I'll be there. And I showed up, and I learned a lot over there. And then eventually, I spent that off into doing my own thing. That was July 2017 is when I showed up there. So being that I started to create with them, I started to meet other creators like Cornell. I was very good at playing the character, crazy girlfriend character, and also playing the mother character. So I ended up working with Cornell, Carrie Boy, the guys at the barbershop, Garrick, and Dice. Ended up working with Pat D. Lucky, Blame It on Quay. Just so many amazing people. And that happened. So I was starting to get a little bored with it because, you know, it's tough. Year and a half in, no money. No money, little money, just little pennies. Ooh, it was a lot of work, little pennies. But I was building that following. So, ended up doing that. And I think 2018, they opened up monetization. I ended up getting approved on YouTube and Facebook. I was like, hey, I can do this. So I ended up starting to do that July 2018. Move forward. I am here. 2.8 million followers on Facebook to date. 427,000 on YouTube. 1.3 million on TikTok. And over 500,000 on Instagram. And I continue to grow. But most importantly, I am starting this podcast, the Unapologetically Daphnique podcast. And that is me and who I am. I have a lot of opinions, a strong point of view. You either gonna love it or you gonna hate it. But God damn it, we're gonna tell a great story. So this is my journey, and as we continue to grow here on this platform, I hope that you follow me and you subscribe and you listen. Thank you very much, and be ready to check out the first episode coming next week. Bye.